Hello, 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 fight fans. It is your co-host here, Alec Carr of Fights Unwrapped. We are here bringing you another set of headlines, another stellar fight card. We got UFC 268. We got crazy headlines. We got crazy, crazy shit to talk today. I am not going to be solo. Monique will be joining me shortly. She's just running a little bit late, but I want to get started and get our plugs and everything else out of the way. First and foremost, guys, as always, you can follow me right here at AlecTDCar. That is my personal account on Twitter. I have some off the wall opinions about fights. I was freaking out last weekend while watching the freaking Jan versus Jan versus Glover and the Jan versus Sandhagen fight. Those fights were absolutely insane, absolutely crazy. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. I'm super excited. But that fight card was insane. Please follow me there. Please like me if you see anything you don't like. If you see anything you do like, comment. Let me know. Come at me, please. I love controversy. I love talking about sports. I love debating sports. That's why I'm here. Also, guys, please make sure you follow Fights Unwrapped up here in the little corner. Follow us at Fights Unwrapped on Twitter. And we got fight content coming out left and right. We're talking UFC most of the time, but we got a little bit of everything. When it becomes relevant, we will talk about it. Fights Unwrapped is and I say this every single week, in my very biased, unbiased opinion, we have the best fight content out there, the best UFC breakdowns, the best fight breakdowns, and if you're not following us, you're missing out. Also, guys, please, please, please follow us at Unwrapped Sports Network. It's what brings us all together. Unwrap Sports Network on Twitter, Unwrap Sports Network on YouTube. Please like and subscribe and hit that little notification button so you get all the notifications, all new videos coming out. Unwrap Sports Network is absolutely fantastic. I'm a proud part of the family. I absolutely love being a member. We got stuff from all over the country. We got football, we got baseball, we got hockey, we got basketball, we got fights, we got everything you can think of. And my favorite thing about it is it's all local dudes and girls and women and men and whatever you are. It's all of the local people giving you their opinions, their breakdowns. We have doctors giving out medical breakdowns. It is absolutely crazy. So please, again, guys, subscribe to Unwrap Sports Network on YouTube. Also, make sure you give them a follow on Twitter. Give us a follow on Twitter because it's absolutely incredible the content coming out of there. All right, guys. Now that we are done with that, we're gonna go ahead and pay our bills. We got our sponsors. Check out, please, as always, Carlos Condent, our very own UFC's very own Carlos Condent, is an avid user of RX Hemp. So please, guys, go check out rxhemp.com. If you're like me, you're getting a little bit older, a little bit long in the tooth, but you still love working out. But you don't like all the aches and pains that come with working out in your 30s. You should try out RX Hemp. So please go to rxhemp.com and use rxhemp-usn to get 10% off your entire order. That's right, guys. rxhemp-usn gets 10% off your entire order. It's a crazy deal. Please, please go check them out. Also, make sure you visit mybookie.ag today. I know Monique's going to be betting on this card this weekend. It's an absolutely insane card. There's tons of crazy odds, lots of bets to be made on this fight card. So please visit mybookie.ag and use promo code USN100 for a 100% sign up bonus. That's right. US promo code USN100 for a 100% sign up bonus. It is absolutely crazy offer. Don't miss out on it. Get your bets in. Make sure you bet on this card. Make sure you get your money. So that again, guys, visit mybookie.ag today and use promo code USN100 for a 100% sign up bonus. All right. So first, we are going into our headlines. It's not a super crazy, not a lot of headlines, but a lot of really cool headlines. I'm sorry, guys, you're dealing with the solo. Looks like Monique's a little bit behind it, so we will get her opinions on some of the headlines, but not all of them. The first thing I want to talk about, because this is near and dear to my heart, and it does lead into one of our other topics that we're going to be talking about here, um, and that is our good friend Kazmat Chimaev came off a long layoff because of COVID. He was operating his lungs at like 30% capacity, and somehow was on the verge of retiring. At one point, doctors told him he was going to die. And he just fought last week. He just beat Li Jing. He just beat Lee in an incredible fight, um, where he looked exactly the same, like he hadn't missed a beat. It's absolutely incredible what he did. He picked him up, held him, and yelled at Dana. I don't know what he said. He didn't say what he said, but he was yelling at Dana, probably getting him a ranking. He wants the top 5 opponent next. Which I don't blame him for. Sorry, guys. A quick apology. I am on dog duty, so if you see me look in other directions, because I'm watching my puppy. Um, but yeah, it's absolutely insane what Chimaev did. He absolutely annihilated a top, I think a top at the time a top 10 ranked opponent. He destroyed Li Jinglang. Um, Absolutely annihilated him. It was crazy to watch. It looked like Chimaev before COVID. It looked like he didn't miss a beat. That COVID, even though he almost died, COVID didn't bother him, which is a big deal. Despite what Kobe Covington says, it is a fucking big deal, and we'll talk about that fucking later. That little fucking douchebag. Um, it is a big deal. And we want to talk about who's next. I mean, seriously, who is next for this fucking monster who constantly die? And I apologize, guys. You know my language gets a little bit crazy when I have had a long work week, and I am exhausted of just coming off of a long couple of days at work. So if this language offends you, I'm sorry. But it's fucking Kazmat Chimaev. I don't know who he fights next. There's a lot of guys who don't want to fight this man. Um, Still, I mean, this is a guy that had to jump divisions just to get opponents when before he got COVID. The guy's an absolute beast. I can't wait to see more of him. I don't really know who's next for him. Jeff Neal or Neil Magny appeared to have called him out, which is a good fight for him. He absolutely destroys Neil Magny though. And Neil Magny is a number 8 ranked opponent. I'd much rather see him go up in the rankings. I'm so sick and tired of him fighting these guys that we know he can dominate. I would like to see him against Jorge Masvidal. I think that's a great fight. That's a fight that can, put butts in seats, get pay-per-views. You could even put that as a main event on a Vegas card. That would be absolutely insane. Everybody would fucking tune into that shit. You got Kazmat Chimaev, who can absolutely annihilate anybody and take anybody he wants to on the ground, and then just, as he says, and pound them or kill them, as he was saying after the last fight, which some people are a little bit worried about. But Kazmat Chimaev against Jorge Masvidal is something that gets me very excited. I think that's the fight to make. Neil Magny or Jeff Neal does nothing for me. Neither does Bilal Muhammad. I know a lot of people are throwing out that name. I don't really care about those guys fighting against Kazmat. This is a guy that deserves to be lined up to the top. This is a guy whose skill set, if he proves against the top guys like Jorge Masvidal, that he can dominate them. This is a guy whose skill set is not good for Kamaru Usman. It's not. It's just really not. If we're being honest, if we're being truthful, this is the guy that could beat him. As long as he doesn't let us down, hopes wise. Another name that's really interesting that I've seen thrown around. Another name that I have thrown around is Michael Chiesa. I think that's a really good fight. It's a boring fight. It would be absolutely boring. But I would like to see Kazmat Chimaev's wrestling against the great Michael Chiesa's wrestling. I think that really would prove just how good Kazmat Chimaev is, especially if he goes in there, beats him in the first round, and still takes no strikes. Can we just take a minute and talk about how he hasn't taken any damn hits? The guy hasn't been hit. He hasn't been hit. It's fucking insane. But I think a guy like Michael Chiesa, I would love to see that wrestling. I would absolutely love it. Wrestler versus wrestler. If Chimaev could beat him in that fight like he has, man, sky's the limit for this guy. Look out, Kamaru Usman, because if they book that fight and he annihilates Chiesa, I don't care. I love Leon Edwards, who's probably next in line for Kamaru Usman. But if he can destroy Chiesa, Kazmat Chimaev deserves a title shot after that. I'm going out there and saying it. I really, really am. And look who we got here. Look who we got joining us right now. We got Dustin. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
What's going on, dude?
You're joining me just in time. I'm just finishing up this Who's Next for Chimaev after last week. Two names I'll throw out there for you real quick because I did spend about 10 minutes on this already. Jesus. A quick name I'll throw out there. Two names. Because, a lot of people say Neil Magny. I don't give a shit about Neil Magny. I doubt you do too. No one wants to see Chimaev destroy Neil Magny. Because that's what would happen. What I want to see is either Jorge Masvidal, just because I would tune into that shit, because that would be fun. All of the trash talking beforehand, that would just be a fun show. Not a great fight, but a fun show because I think Chimaev still wins. The name that I'm throwing out there, now this would be a really boring fight, but a great test for him, is Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa versus Kazmat Chimaev would be a fantastic test for Chimaev. You got Chiesa's strong wrestling versus Chimaev, who can seemingly take down anybody. And if Chimaev beats, what I'm saying is, if that fight happens and Chimaev annihilates Chiesa like he did his past opponents, that he's next in line for a title shot. I don't care. I don't care. I think he deserves it. What are your thoughts? Who do you think? What's a name that comes to mind for you?
So, big thing that comes actually about Chimaev. Here's what I don't like about what people talk about Chimaev. They say he's only been hit a couple times in the UFC. That shit is going to end. And I'm telling you guys, it's going to end. He's not going to keep walking in here and just throwing a couple punches, taking someone down and finishing the fight. It's not going to happen. He's about to climb the competition. And not saying that his competition he just fought was horrible, but it wasn't. Come on. Right? That wasn't anywhere near the elite. And he's a good fighter. He's definitely well-rounded. I give him that. Very aggressive. I like his game. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's not going to be top-notch. But I'm saying to people, it's like, slow your roll. Is that whole getting hit 2 times shit? That's not going to happen. If he fights somebody like Masvidal, he's getting hit. He's getting hit a lot. And if he fights somebody like, dude, honestly, what's weird? A test I actually like for him is Nate Diaz. A lot of people kind of would not agree, but Nate Diaz has a chin of fucking steel. So therefore, here's my thing about that. Nate Diaz is going to hit you more than 2 times. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu. He's very good on the ground.
High level black belt.
Yeah, I like that shit because he's cream of the crop. There's a reason nobody gets in his guard. Nobody. Not one person wants to. No one. So therefore, and he's very lanky. Who the fuck wants to get in that guard? There's too much shit he could do to you. But I think he's probably the best test in my opinion. Number one, because they both have big mouths. It'd be highly sellable. And again, it would prove that he can get hit. Now we can feed him to the bigger guys. First of all, I think he'd kill Chiesa. I think
really. That high Chiesa can take down anyone though, and he'll out wrestle anyone.
Chimaev's gonna lay it on him, dude. He's gonna beat the shit out of him on the feet. He's not even gonna be able to get close. I don't think he's even get into range to get a takedown. And that's the fucking thing. Chimaev is gonna punish the shit out of him. I don't care anybody says Chiesa would get killed. when it comes to stand up. Like, he would get murdered. And that's a big thing, and especially because Chimaev is not a bad wrestler. So he'll keep it standing up if he wants to. Like, I have confidence in him. Like I said, I think he's a top-notch athlete. But what people need to stop fucking thinking is that the 2 hits thing, that's not going to happen again. Like, once he goes up to the top 5, goes up to fight for titles, you think Usman's only going to hit him one time? You know what? Come on, dude. That's not even realistic. He has a very high and fast rise, and he's gone through some guys who weren't the best. I'll tell you that right now. He still is. He hasn't fought guys that are that good yet. So
come on, don't do that to my guy Lee. Lee is not elite by any mention of the words, but he is a legit striker in the UFC, and he has good takedown defense, and he did beat the first takedown, and then Kazmat just fucking picked him up and threw him on the ground.
That's what I'm saying. Chimaev, he's top notch. I've been saying that this whole time. He's a top notch fighter.
I know. I just think honestly, you want to know why I'm not. I would tune it. Don't get me wrong. You book Masvidal versus Kazmat Chimaev, and I was saying you do that on a Vegas fight night. That fight night is your highest viewed fight night you've ever had for the UFC. That everyone's tuning into that shit. That would be so much fun. I think it's a great opportunity for them to really promote their fight nights. Because that's like a fight you don't really want to see. Not as the main event. So, like, I would be pissed off if that got booked and was like on the bottom of a pay-per-view. I would just be livid at that. But I honestly think I don't think listen, you know how I feel about Jorge Masvidal. I think he's overrated. I think he's living off of an amazing flying knee. I think he's well deserving of his 6th rank. I really do. I think he does deserve to be number 6.
Do you really?
Yeah, in this division, I think he's better than Neil Magny and Bilal Muhammad and Jeff Neal.
What I'm saying, do you think anybody really cares that he beat that mid fighter? I mean, let's be real. Like, he got his ass beat by Jake Paul, and he came in looking like a stepdad. Ben Askren, I don't think anybody really cares.
I know, but he's still living off of that. What has he done other than Nate Diaz and Ben Askren lately? What has he done?
I mean, he's
Usman twice.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that I don't think anybody cares. I think they care about his personality more than they do his record, and that's just how marketability goes.
I think honestly, what I was getting at is I think a lot of people would be disappointed in that fight because everyone would tune in, and then Chimaev would annihilate him.
I think it would win, but he's going to get hit. He's going to get.
He would definitely get hit, but I mean, Usman held him against the cage, and Usman, that's what he does. He does that to everybody. I just think Chimaev would just he would just throw him on the ground and pummel the shit out of him once he got him down there. That's why I like the Chiesa, because they both can shoot takedowns. It would have to be a stand-up fight. I just think this guy needs a top-ranked fighter, an elite fighter to fight against, so that we can see him go for the title. Because I would love to see him against Usman. I pick Usman in that fight, but I would love to see it. I think it's stylistically the worst matchup Usman's ever seen.
I need to see him against an elite guy.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying, as of right now, until he's proven me wrong, he is the worst matchup stylistically for Usman. If he goes against Jorge Masvidal and Jorge Masvidal just sprawls every takedown he does and beats the shit out of him, yeah, of course. He's not living up to the hype. But if he lives up to this hype in his next fight and he wins that in the same fashion, I think he's got to be next in line. I think he does.
I will say that.
Not to mention, you get a shit ton of pay-per-view vibes with a guy like Kazmat.
Hey, dude, that Colby Covington trash talk, people may not like him, but I'm sorry, dude. I was laughing like a motherfucker. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. We will. We'll get to that. Don't worry. I fucking hate that guy. Anyway, we're moving on because this is really interesting. Usman has come out and said that he is eyeing next the super fight against Israel Adesanya the style bender, which is something Usman has never been known to do, is go for a super fight. He has even said in the past he doesn't want to fight Israel. They are friends. That he doesn't really want to do that. I, I for one fucking love this. I think that would be a great fight. I, I mean, I think it's a great fight because Kamaru Usman's so big for the freaking welterweight division that he's essentially a middleweight fighting at the welterweight. Um, and his elite level grapple game would really fuck with Israel Adesanya. I honestly don't know who I would pick in this fight. Usman's got to beat Colby first. And then I would love to see it. I know that I would love to see it. How about you, Dustin?
I agree with. Well, I think what people need to realize: super fights mean something in your legacy. They mean you. To me, to be in the to compete for Mount Rushmore and stuff like that, you have to have a fight somebody can pick out and be like, you can't beat that. You know what I'm saying? I think that he needs it. I think a lot of champions need it. So I would love to see this fight. Now, the thing about Usman's weight, first of all, I think Usman could be 205. That dude is massive. He cuts to 185. He does a very good, not 180, yeah. I mean, he does, he cuts to 170. He does a very good job. He never misses weight. He must have a very good regimen, very good camp behind him, because that's a lot of weight to cut. He's huge. 185 is probably natural. 185 is probably an easy cut. So therefore, not natural. I think he weighs more than that. I'm going to tell you that right now. I guarantee that dude walks around at like 210, 215. At least. But again, 185 is more natural. Now, the thing with Adesanya against Usman, I don't like it for Izzy because, first of all, he's not good against big guys that can throw hands because Usman's going to bully him. Like, if he gets inside and pins him up against a cage, he's going to bully him. And I almost don't even think it's going to be entertaining because I don't think Usman's willing to stand on the outside with Adesanya. Adesanya is a better striker.
No one is. No one wants to stand on the outside with him.
So therefore, I think he's probably going to grab him. I think he's going to try to Khabib him, put it that way. Take him down, try to pound him out. But Adesanya has a good chance. I will never put Adesanya out of that fight. Like, he's very good. I just think that his ground game isn't enough when it comes to fighting guys like this. So therefore, I'd actually go with Usman in this fight. And I think it'd be very entertaining if Usman doesn't hold on to him. If he doesn't just hold on to him, I think it'd be entertaining. Izzy has a chance to probably put him on the ground. But I'm going to take Usman in that fight. But it'd be very entertaining, and it would sell a lot of PPV.
Yes, it would. You put Izzy on any PPV, it's going to sell. Yeah, I don't. It's for me. It's hard to say. First, I want to give a shout out to Clayton Skelton, who's coming in on our comments. Sorry, bro, I missed it. Clayton just pointed out that Chimaev is a 3-time national wrestling champion in Sweden. He's right. Chimaev is no joke on the ground. He's an absolute dominant wrestler. But getting back to this, Adesanya, my thing with Adesanya is, I know Usman's probably more naturally the same size. I don't know about him going up to 205. He's not that tall. So like, he looks heavier than he actually is, in my opinion. Going up to 205 for him would have to be like in my opinion, probably maintaining at 205 for him and being healthy 205 and in shape 205 would be really, really rough for him. 185 would be perfect because he hardly has to cut. I just think, Izzy, yes, Jan was able to take him down. Jan was able to use his size in the grapple game. It's hard to get a hold of Izzy. I don't know who I would pick for this fight. I'm reserving my pick for if it actually happens. But it is hard to get a hold of Izzy. It's not like, and you know this, it's not like Izzy's Masvidal where you can just get a hold of him and he doesn't know how to get out. Izzy knows how to get out once you get a hold of him, and he's so fucking long, and he uses those leg kicks so well. It is painful to get a hold of him. Even fucking Jan said, well, getting him, like actually getting a hold of him, hurt. It fucking hurt because he would hit you with punches on the way in. Um, that being
Obviously.
said, Usman is an absolute beast, and I think would absolutely. Right now, I'm like 50-50 on this one. I have no idea who I would pick. All right, we are moving on. We're moving on. We're moving on. We don't always do this, but I think this fight card was well worthy of it. Um, we're going to do a quick breakdown of UFC 267 because this card was fucking insane. Just absolutely insane. Lots of fucking crazy shit happened. Magomedov Ankalev started the fight off, which was really annoying because DC kept calling him by the wrong fucking name. Um, we won't talk about DC in this. I promise. He's just a douchebag and needs to not commentate. Those are my words about that. He was horrible all night. I swear to God, he was drunk or something. But Magomedov comes in, and I know he won by decision, but he absolutely annihilated Volkan Ozdemir. Did whatever he wanted, made Ozdemir look like a bad striker, which we all know that what Ozdemir does is knock you the fuck out. That's what he does. And Magomed made him look bad and striking, and then he took him down and did what Magomed does. I won't pull up the rankings. This is why I really want to go over this card because these next two, this card and then the next one, really affects the rankings a lot. So Magomed, if I can find it, is now listed. You know what? UFC has not updated their rankings. So so we won't really go into rankings that much. That kind of sucks. Thanks a lot, UFC, for not updating shit. Um, but Magomed for me is getting closer and closer being next in line. I mean, what do you think about this? What do you think about this fight? I mean, Ozdemir was an absolute test fight. I think he passed with flying colors.
Um, uh, I don't know. Because, like I said, title fights to me, I don't know what it is about it. Title fights to me, I think you should be beating somebody that has either fought for the title big time or somebody that's championship worthy, that has actually done this and been around the block. So when it comes to championship fights, I like people to earn them. I'm not saying he hasn't earned it. What I'm saying is, like, I like you to fight guys that have been there and done that before you get a big title shot. I feel like you have to beat somebody in the top 3, top 4. It's got to happen, in my opinion. Because if you can't beat those guys, why the hell would you fight the champion? We don't even know if you can. So therefore, I don't see why you fast-track title shots to guys who haven't fought the guys they need to fight. To me, it's climbing the ladder. You mean you got to fight someone.
I get that.
So I don't like the fact that the 7th or 8th ranked guy or anything even close to that should fight a champion. I don't think that should happen.
Yeah, I know. He is a light heavyweight, so the light heavyweight division is kind of weak. But
It's thin, but
I would like to see him fight Rocket next, or Anthony Smith, who's apparently getting phone calls about fighting Jan, which I think is just dumb. I don't need to see Anthony Smith get knocked the fuck out.
yeah.
I really don't need to see that. We're going to talk about Jan in a little bit, though. But I agree with you. I think I would love to see him fight Rocket. I think that's a great matchup for him. I think he annihilates the guy because what he showed me against Ozdemir is that strikers don't do fuck all against him. So I would love to see that fight. We're going to talk about Glover and Jan. It's hard for me not to talk about the light heavyweight division, not mention Yuri, because he is sitting there waiting. Probably the best fighter in the division. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's go on to the next fight. We already talked about Chimaev versus Jing Lang, so we don't need to talk about that one. Volkov versus Tibera. We both knew what was going to happen. I think the whole world knew what was going to happen. Volkov was hitting him with real heavy shots whenever he hit him, and Tibera just was not. He was just, he's Tibera. He's not an elite athlete. He's not an elite fighter in this division. He deserves to be in the UFC, but he's never going to be in it. He's never going to break the top 5 in the heavyweight division unless everybody retires. So I mean, we don't really need to talk about that one because it doesn't really affect the heavyweight rankings at all because Volkov fought down for some reason in the division when he should be fighting up. But the next one,
remember what I said last show. It was more to keep active because a lot of
yeah,
these
no, it was.
So
you're right, it was. It's still lame, but it was.
Yeah, no, it was definitely to stay active and not have any ring rust when he fights these bigger guys. So
yeah, next we had Islam absolutely destroyed Dan Hooker. We kind of thought this might happen. At least I know I did. Dan Hooker's a striker with very little takedown defense. But Islam came in. I'm not going to say shocked the world, but did shock some people how easy he made that fight. I mean, this is a fight that people thought would go into the later rounds. But lo and behold, round 1, 2 minutes into the fight, 2 minutes and 25 seconds of round 1. Islam gets the takedown after a couple of strikes, gets the takedown, takes him down, gets him in a choke, and it's a wrap. The reason it was actually 2 minutes and 25 seconds was because he had to switch arms because of the angle that he was on. If he didn't have to switch arms, it would have been much quicker. But yeah, Islam's coming. I think this more just proves that we got to get this guy. If these guys like Gaethje and Chandler and Dariush, well, not Dariush. I don't want to throw Dariush's name out there because he hasn't said anything. But if Gaethje, depending on what happens this fight coming up, if Gaethje wins and doesn't demand a title shot, I think Islam should leapfrog him. What do you think?
I hated Dan Hooker taking that fight because
Me too, man.
It's way too much of a turnaround. What people also need to understand that I actually did not say, I don't think last show, was that his country is basically shutting down the MMA world.
He didn't go home. Yeah, he stayed in Vegas.
He can't go home. If he goes home, then he can't fight because they're not going to let him train. He can't open his gym. He can't do anything. So I think he took this fight to financially sustain himself for the move to the United States, especially with his gym, because he got paid a lot for jumping in. He got paid a lot of money, and they always do. They're going to pay a guy like Dan Hooker a lot to take that fight. I think he took that fight maybe thinking he could win, but I think it was more about sustaining and more about probably getting financially stable for the move he's going to have to make. He's going to move to the United States because if he doesn't, he's not going to fight. So therefore,
I don't know, man. I mean, Dan Hooker is a guy that always talks about competing for a championship, and if he doesn't beat a guy like Islam, he never will. I mean, this is something that's it's always come up with Dan Hooker, though. He performs against the guys he should beat, like the fight before this. But against guys he shouldn't beat or guys who are elite talent, he does not perform because he is one thing. He's a striker. He needs to go to a wrestling camp, and he needs to learn how to defend wrestling. Otherwise, he stands no chance against guys like Chandler, against guys like Gaethje, against guys like Poirier. Do Bronx absolutely fucking annihilates him.
I'm not giving him an excuse for losing. What I'm saying is I don't like the fact that he took the fight this big of a turnaround. It wasn't.
Okay, I'll give you that. Because I didn't like it either.
But I'm telling you the reason. I think it's a big reason was his home country because he has to move, and he literally has to move his entire life because Izzy's about to move to the United States. All these guys are coming. And all these guys from New Zealand are coming to the United States because they're not letting them fight. They're not letting them train. They're closing their gyms down. So
Right.
therefore, that whole team, that whole I forgot what it's called, City Gym, something like that. That whole fight camp is going to have to move. They're all going to have to come to the United States to continue because New
Right.
Zealand's not letting up anytime soon.
Right.
So therefore, I don't give an excuse to losing. I think he was going to get beat either way, even if he had a full training camp, even if he went back home. I think he would have lost. Maybe not that quick. I mean, I don't know. But like
Right.
I said, I think he took this fight for other reasons that weren't a good reason, especially going up against a guy who's a Khabib protege, a Dagestan. This dude, I mean, they live, breathe, shit, eat fighting. That's what they do. And I think it was
Right.
a dangerous guy to fuck around with. So therefore, I don't like the fact that he took it, but Islam should fight before he gets a shot at the champ. I think whoever loses the Michael Chandler versus Gaethje fight, I think once he beats one of those guys, automatic title shot. If he beats
All right.
Chandler,
I'm
Gaethje,
down.
automatic title shot.
I'm down. All right, we got to move on because we got 2 more fights we got to talk about that happened on this card, and then we got a fucking killer card to talk about this week. So real quick, Piotr Jan versus Corey Sandhagen. My fucking god! Talk about we'll do our awards show for probably in late December. Probably we did it last year too. We'll do it again. Um, but Piotr Jan and Corey Sandhagen probably just won fight of the year. I mean, Jake, my God, was Corey Sandhagen? Corey Sandhagen won the first. I mean, it looked like he was about to win the fight. Piotr Jan did what Piotr Jan does, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited, and he just outsmarted Corey Sandhagen from round 3 on. But those first 2 rounds, I've never seen anybody fight Jan like that. That was fucking insane. Corey Sandhagen put up a goddamn battle. He did what he could. Jan's just that much better than everybody else, and it's not just even better, because I would say Jan's hand striking is he's the best in the UFC, and his boxing is absolutely the best in the UFC. It's disgusting how good he is at boxing. But as far as striking, like kickboxing and everything else that goes into striking, Sandhagen's probably right underneath of him. The guy's an absolute monster, and he went in there saying, "I'm not going for crazy knockouts. I'm going for volume like I used to. I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna land a lot of fucking strikes." And he did that, man, and he was doing that into the late rounds. And both of these guys, I swear to God, both of them could have gone another 3. I wanted another 3 rounds. It's not often that I see a 5-round fight and go, no, it can't be over yet. It needs to keep going. Jan absolutely did win the fight. He won it. I mean, the rounds were close, but he did really win the fight. It's not one that I would have called like, oh, even Sandhagen said he didn't do enough. But yeah, fight of the year candidate for me, definitely. I can call this what I'm calling in December. This is fight of the year. This was an absolute war. 2 guys going at it. I love to see it. How about you, Dustin?
I'm not surprised Sandhagen fought on the way he did. Like, Sandhagen that dude's a shark in the water, dude. He's very, very, very aggressive, and he will get off. I don't know if I like the whole, because what people don't understand about flashy knockouts is that a lot of them are planned. Some people think that these flashy big knockouts are like surprises. Well, they're only surprises to people who are watching. A lot of those camps plan for shit like that. And the reason they got that big ass knockout was because it happened in the right moment at the right time, and they just got it. So people need to kind of see. I don't think he was going for flashy knockouts ever. Like Conor McGregor goes for flashy shit. He goes for it. He doesn't wait. He goes for flashy shit all the time. He goes for cartwheel kicks all the time. The dude does really weird stuff in the octagon. I don't think he plans some of the shit he does. But Sandhagen, especially with that knee to Frankie Edgar, you can't tell me that wasn't planned. You can't tell me that wasn't.
No, he set that up.
He definitely set it up. That was masterful.
He was trying to set it up against Jan too. He really was. He was trying to throw that knee. Jan's just too quick at dodging strikes.
Exactly. So
that's what it is. His footwork is too good.
I'm not surprised Jan beat him, but Sandhagen is he's a killer. Like, he really
He'll be
is. He
back.
fights. He'll be back. But like I said, remember I told you in the show, there's something about Sandhagen that won't come out of his pocket. I don't know what it is, but there's when I watch him, I just feel like there's something more. Like, I feel like he needs to dig, just find it. I don't know what it is, but just find it because it's really weird to
Yeah,
watch him.
you could be right. You could be right. All right, we're moving on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we do have a killer card to talk about later. Last fight of the night. There's not much to talk about here because it wasn't that. I mean, it was shocking. It was absolute. Like it was shocking. I can't believe that Blahovic Jan fucking pulled guard. I couldn't believe it. He pulled guard against Glover. Glover was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You don't pull guard against Glover. You just don't do it." It's the one thing in his camp it should have said, "Don't pull guard. I don't care if you have the neck or you think you have the neck. Do not pull guard." And that's exactly what happened. And Glover just took advantage of it. I'm happy for the guy. I mean, will he have a long reign at the top? Man, I hope so, but I doubt it. I think Yuri's going to come in there and absolutely annihilate him. I do. Yuri's just too good, man. It's been a long time since we've seen him, but that guy sets up his strikes like, oh my God, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Yuri, I think, is a guy that will dominate the division for a long time. But I'm happy to see Glover put the belt around him. There's not many times where I say somebody who's not. I don't put Glover in the top of UFC history, but there's just. But I mean, it could have happened. Nice gets you far. You have to use your talent to get to the next level, but it could have happened to a nicer guy. Glover's story is absolutely insane. The guy got deported one time because of some bullshit that he wasn't working. They said he wasn't working, but he was injured, so he couldn't fucking fight because that's his job. So they deported him back to Brazil. Then he gained citizenship in the United States, so they couldn't deport him again. And now he lives, I think, in Cleveland. Weird place, but to pick to live, as you know. I don't know anybody who's like, I want to live in Cleveland. But but I just want to give a round of applause to Glover. I'm proud of you. I doubt you'll, like I said, I doubt your reign is going to last very long. I really hope it does. I hope we see a 40-year-old go from like a 5-year tear being champ, and he retires at 46 as champ. It's just not going to happen. How about you? I think you share the same sentiment. I know you're not as big as a Glover guy as I am, but I'm just happy for the man.
No, I like Glover. Again, Jan pulling guard on him was almost as dumb as Connor pulling guard on Dustin
It was
Poirier.
dumber. It was dumber. He pulled guard on one of the most elite Brazilian black belts in the entire fucking sports
That's
history.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And actually, it almost happened in the same way. They thought they had something and they didn't. There's the one person I wouldn't try to pull guard on a guillotine on, and it's probably someone who's experienced as Glover, because guillotines aren't that hard to get out of. I mean,
No, they're not.
Unless you're very, very strong. If you're I'm not saying Jan isn't, but I'm thinking he's not as equipped when it comes to the ground game to lock Glover into a guillotine.
He turned right out of that shit. He went, turned right out of it.
If anything, Jan was more likely to land the guillotine standing up. And if anybody knows anything about a guillotine standing up, that shit hurts. You mean if they pull your neck up and they fucking carry you like that, that hurts. And it chokes you really quick. It puts a lot of body weight. He was probably more likely to land that and walk him down than to pull guard. Because pulling guard, man, if you don't wrap your legs almost immediately, and if you're not that quick, if you're not that athletic, you're probably not going to land it. Unless you're just a strong guy.
And two guys who are probably more closer to 215 and 205, probably more like 220 when they're fighting. I mean, those two guys falling, when you pull guard and you're a little guy, you don't bounce around as much on the ground. But when you pull guard and you're a big fuck like those two guys, you could see they bounced and he lost them. He lost them immediately because of that. I mean, it was just dumb. It was dumb.
Here's that's what I was saying. Honestly, the example, the standing guillotine, is what John Jones did to Lyoto Machida. And
Yeah,
basically, he choked him out on his feet.
right.
Which,
Because he knew if he pulled guard. To your point, he knew if he pulled guard against Lyoto Machida, it wasn't
not,
going to end. He had an opportunity for it not to end well for him.
so what I'm saying is he disappointed me because that's my boy. I love Jan. Jan's my dude. I love him. I love to watch him fight. But he did what I told him. I wish he would have listened. Maybe I'm not smart. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in MMA. But I'm saying last week I was like, don't go to the ground. Just punch him in his face. You're weird. Don't try to take him to the floor, bro. That was a bad day.
Exactly.
So therefore,
Exactly.
hats off to you, dude. I think you're going to get back into the mix. I think you'll win your next fight if they don't give you an immediate rematch because you did do a really good job. You won a super fight. Maybe they give you that shot, but I don't think Glover's going to hold on to the belt too long. I'm really glad to see the strap around his waist. He deserves it. A long, sustainable career. He's fought a lot of good guys, but I don't think he holds on too long.
No, yeah, me neither. All right, we gotta move on because we got fucking UFC 268. It's finally here. It feels
It's godly. That is godly.
it's it feels like forever, Dustin, that we've been talking about this card. Every fight announcement,
For like
it
half
has
a
been.
like,
Yeah, it is. It is the most highly anticipated card of the year. It truly is.
it's going to be so good.
Um, Fuck the Connor versus Poirier. This is the most highly anticipated card of the year. It's crazy. I can't fucking wait for it. And what's even crazier about this card starts. It starts with Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Off the bat, it's just like, yeah, tune in, guys. Make sure you buy this one because it's going to be a fucking big deal. I'm going to let you talk about this. I'm pretty sure we agree on this one, but I'm going to let you go first. Tell me what you think. Tell me your breakdown of Justin versus Michael.
Um, I'm going to start it off. I like both of these fighters. I think both of them are really good. I think Michael Chandler might be a little bit better of a wrestler. I think he's a little bit more in tune on the mat. But I'm not taking away from Gaethje. Gaethje is a very good wrestler also. People like to ignore that. He was a really good wrestler. But he just doesn't use it because he's a brawler. He likes to punch people in the face. I think he has a pretty good chin. Michael Chandler is really twitchy, and he has a really good twitch punch. And I've mentioned this a lot in other shows, but twitchy guys are able to throw from the hip at a very fast and hard rate. There's not a lot of guys who can do it. A lot of people think there is, but there's not. And Michael Chandler is one of them. He will throw from the hip and land a bomb. Like he didn't sit on it. He didn't make it look like super powerful. He just threw it from the hip and got you. And Michael Chandler can do that. I think he's quicker than Gaethje, in my opinion, when it comes to striking. I think the only disadvantage he really has is the size. I think Gaethje's a little bit bigger. Probably has a little bit more length. And both of them can go to war. So, but honestly, some people might disagree with me. I don't know, but I'm going to take Michael Chandler. I'm being completely honest. I think Michael Chandler is going to. Honestly, I'm going to go big here. I think Michael Chandler knocks him out in the third.
Woo! So we don't really disagree all that much. Everybody knows how I feel about fucking Justin Gaethje. I think the guy's a douchebag. I think he's
I know you
he's
hate
way over. He is so his confidence. He's in for a rude awakening in this fight. This is an overconfident guy that doesn't fucking deserve it. I just want to point this out. Before Gaethje fought Khabib, and lost, gave Khabib his neck. He beat Tony Ferguson, who with every day that goes by, that win is getting less and less impressive. He beat Donald Cerrone, who is way out of his prime. Beat Edson Barbosa in 2019. A decent win, but not prime Edson. Not
not
prime
big,
Edson.
not big.
But it's a decent win. And then beat James Vick. That was his 4-fight win streak that earned him the Khabib fight after he took it. Before that, his UFC Not debut because he was on the winner of the Ultimate Fighter. But his true first UFC fight was Eddie Alvarez, which is not an easy. That's not easy.
Mhm.
That's not fucking easy, and he lost that fight. And then Dustin Poirier, and he lost that fight. I think Justin Gaethje has written all over him the guy that beats the guys he should, like the Barbozas and Vicks and Cerrones, and Tony Ferguson at this point, and loses to the guys he should lose against. And I think Michael Chandler is a guy he should lose against. I'm not calling Michael Chandler the greatest fighter in the division. I'm not. I wouldn't say that. I think he's really good. I think that my opinions about him are very well known. I like him. I think his
Michael,
wrestling is
people do need to understand Michael Chandler was a world champion. I mean,
yes.
people
His
need to recognize that.
his wrestling is absolutely insane. Um, I'll put it in another word to explain your Twitchy a little bit more. He might be the most explosive athlete in the division. This guy can go from being across the octagon to knocking you out in a matter of seconds. With one punch. We saw it against Dan Hooker. We saw it if you go back and watch Chandler's fights in Bellator. We saw it over and over and over again. He can knock you out or take you down from across the fucking octagon. That's how fast he is. That's how explosive he is. Because I wouldn't say his hands are fast. His hands are not fast. When he gets in a brawl and he's in a fucking phone booth, he does not have fast hands, but he can explode.
That's what I
He
was
can
saying. They're fast from the
yeah,
hip.
right. He can explode from across the octagon and knock you the fuck out, or take you down and put you up against the fucking cage and get you in a bad position on the ground and beat the shit out of you. I agree with you. I'm gonna shock people. Michael Chandler wins this in the second round. I think he's better. I think he's the better version of Gaethje. I think Gaethje, the only way he hopes to win is to bring this fight into the phone book, and Michael Chandler's too smart not to. His last loss is, I mean, he lost against the champ. I mean, this is Stu Bronx is an elite guy. He's on
He
the
didn't. He
and
really
he
didn't
didn't do bad. He just got caught with the most fucking um, textbook hook I've ever seen in UFC history. Maybe I mean that was insane. That just tells you how good Du Bronx is. He went from being the elite Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt to being able to throw the picture perfect left hook. Um, so I think this is Michael Chandler all the way. Gaethje's way too confident going into this fight.
You know
These
what? You
guys,
know what I did about this fight was the fake hype that Gaethje tried to put out.
right? They're
That's
friends. They're
that's
fucking friends.
that somehow he didn't like Michael Chandler, and I was like, dude,
They're
that's not true.
they're
That's silly.
friends. They've been friendly their whole careers. They're friends. It's fucking
That's just not.
bullshit.
It's not true. And I was like, why are you gonna talk
Gaethje's
shit about
just
that, man?
Gaethje's talking shit. He hasn't beat anybody. Beat
At least
somebody, dude.
at least Connor. The only one I could say Connor was actually probably friends with. A lot of people don't know. I think him and Floyd Mayweather were a little bit more
Oh,
friendly
they're
than.
best friends. You fucking kidding me? They were on the plane together on the way to the flight.
So
They're friends.
I'll give Connor credit to a lot of people he talked shit to in the UFC. They still don't like each other. Okay, like Khabib hates him. Dustin Poirier came to hate him. A lot of the guys he's fought hate him. Aldo doesn't like him. I mean,
Right.
he respects his fighting game, but he don't
Right.
like him. Gaethje looked like a straight. It's really bad to say because he beat my ass. Don't get me wrong, but he kind of looked like a bitch when he did that. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
He kind of looked soft. I was like,
All right, we're moving on. We both got Chandler in this fight, and I could say for Monique, I'm pretty sure she would pick Michael Chandler as well, just knowing her. Next, we got a pretty interesting fight. Well, one that is a little bit weird that it's not the first fight on the card, especially in this card. It's Shane Burgos versus Billy Quintilio. Um, Both of these guys are really good. I think this is them trying to hype up the featherweight division, to try to show off fighters. Shane Burgos lost to Edson Barbosa when Edson Barbosa came down to featherweight. Edson Barboza's never fought a featherweight before, and you lost to him. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's really not, in my opinion. Especially since Edson Barboza is the age that he is. It's like you're beating a guy outside of his prime that for the first time ever is coming down in weight class. That's not a good look. And then you got Billy Quintilio, who is, I mean, this guy is. He lost to Gavin Tucker, I know, but Billy Quintilio is an absolute monster. This guy is. He's no joke. He's won because of stoppages. He's won because of triangle chokes. He's won because of punches over and over again. He's got a little bit of everything. I'm picking Cortilio. I don't know how he wins, but I think he wins in the second round. Well, how about you?
I'm taking Quintilio, but here's the thing about the 145 division. I know they're trying to hype it up. The 145 division will never get popular until they solidify what a 145er is, because they let the guys who are failing at 155 go down. They're letting the guys who are big for 135 go up. It's almost like, I don't know if anybody understands this if you watch boxing. I call 145 a boxing weight because it's easy to get there. I think it's a lot easier for these guys to get there. And 170 and 145 have a lot of things in common. 170 you can cut to very easily for some of these guys. 145 you can cut to very easily for these guys. I call them transition weights. I think a lot of good guys go down to that weight just to see if they can win a strap. I don't think 145 is going to blow up until they solidify 145 and prove that it's a real division when it comes to 155ers can't come down here and whoop our ass, or 135ers can't come up and compete, because 145 is just not going to get that popular until that happens. If that doesn't happen, if they don't solidify a star and they don't solidify a real top five, I think it's going to be real bad. I don't think it's to hype it up.
I agree with you. It's just, and I agree with you. The UFC has mishandled this division for a while now. But it's just funny how many great featherweights there are. I mean, the division right now is Volkanovski, Holloway, Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, Korean Zombie, and you got Giga Chikazi, who no one will fight because they're terrified of him. You got Sadiq Youssef and Bryce Mitchell, all really good fighters. And then you go back in history and you look at like Conor McGregor made his paydays on. I mean, that's how he is the reason he got to where he is because of the featherweight division. He beat Max Holloway. He beat some of these dominant guys, and he did it with pretty much ease. I I I love this division, but you're right. It has been mishandled.
Here's my thing about that. Conor was big. Conor was bigger than those guys. But I'm just going to be
right. Then you got a guy like Edson Barboza comes in and beats Shane Burgos, who's the 14th ranked fighter, and he automatically gets ranked above Bryce Mitchell and Sadiq Youssef. Like I just don't understand that. That's just bullshit to me. And I love Edson Barboza. The guy trained in New Jersey for a long time. He considers his home away from home, right over the bridge from Philadelphia. He's a Philadelphia kind of guy too. He's hard nosed, chin to the ground. He gets shit done. I absolutely love Edson Barboza, but he does not deserve another 10th ranking. Just because he beat Shane Burgos, who was overrated to begin with. This is a prelim card fight. This is the disappointing moment in this card. There's one in every card. There's seems that the matchmakers trying to hype certain fights up that shouldn't be, and this is one of them. This is the fight in this card that fucking sucks, and I might tune out for.
You know what? People hate my opinion of the lover boy of 145, and it's not the champ. You know what I'm saying? It's not even like some of the guys that are considered better. Korean Zombie, to me, is highly overrated. I don't know what it is about him. I don't like him. A lot of
he's
people.
Not an all. I'll give you this. He's not an all-time great, but he's a very, very high-level athlete.
He's tough. I'll give you that, but I don't think
he's fun. He's fun to watch. He's hard. He's easy to root for.
I'm sure. I mean, I agree. I just don't think he's what people draw him to be. I'm not a big fan.
Well, no.
division.
I hope Giga fights him next, and Giga will absolutely, he'll
Giga's gonna
do
whoop
Giga
his
things.
ass.
He'll do Giga things against him. All right,
Giga's
we
gonna
gotta
whoop.
move on. We got definitely more fun fight. One that I can't wait for. We got Frankie Edgar, one of my favorite fighters of all time. One that got. I mean, we were talking about Corey Sandhagen earlier, but how much we love Corey Sandhagen. He did all-time great dirty with one of the most terrifying knees I've ever seen in my life. More terrifying than Ben Askren, the one that Ben Askren got hit with, just because this was so short and compact, and he almost lost his eye. I mean, he literally almost lost his eye. That didn't happen against Ben Askren. This knee, but Frankie Edgar's back, and he pulls Marlon Chito Vera. I hate this guy. He's a douchebag. He claims winning off of injuries. He dodges fighters. He talks all this shit that he's this tough motherfucker. I hope Frankie Edgar goes in on him as the vet he is and absolutely annihilates him. I think he will, because I think Frankie. I know a lot of people think he's too old. He doesn't have a lot left in him. He just turned 40. I think Frankie Edgar's got some left in him. I think he can beat guys like Cheeto still. Can he beat the top level guys in this division? Yeah, no, probably not, because the top guys in this division, we just talked about how fucking good they are. But I don't think he can beat that. I think he will beat Chito Vera pretty easily. Just to be honest with you guys, just because Cheeto sucks. What do you think, Dustin?
I wouldn't say Frankie Edgar is what he is, but he's definitely enough of what he was to beat Chito Vera. Biggest thing with Cheeto, first of all, that win against fucking Sean O'Malley, that was no win, dog. First of all, that foot was already hurt, and then he's claiming to the leg kick got it. Bro, get the fuck out of it. He was killing you before that. He was killing you. He was piecing you up, dude. Like, he was literally schooling. You looked like a little kid when he was piecing you up. You looked like you didn't even know what you were doing there. So let's not say that he beat Sugar Sean. I agree with Sugar Sean. He's 13-0 because he beat him. He was going to beat him if he did not get hurt. So therefore, I don't even know why UFC puts him on these big cards, because honestly, fuck that dude. But they're giving him Frankie Edgar. I think Frankie Edwards is going to whoop this dude's ass. I'm just going to be he's enough of himself to whoop Cheeto. I'm going to tell you that right now. Cheeto's going to get beat. He's going to get beat. I think it's not even going to be close, in my opinion. So, no.
Yeah,
fuck that.
I think Cheeto is, he claims to be really good at everything, but he's not really that good at anything, and he's going up against Frankie Edgar, who will just pick him apart. I mean, he's gonna get hit in the body, he's gonna get hit in the head, he's gonna get hit in the legs, and not even respond. That's how I see this fight going.
Edgar is also a very good wrestler. A lot of people forget.
And he's just too smart. Frankie Edgar is one of the smartest fighters he's not the most talented fighter I've ever seen, but he's one of the fucking smartest fighters I've ever seen fight.
I think the big person he had trouble with was Greg Maynard. If I'm not, and Greg Maynard is like, he was a fucking shark, dude. Like, he was Frankie Edgar's nemesis for a reason, because he was almost the same fighter, but he was a little bit better when it came to the physical aspect. This
is a guy that Gray Maynard was a draw. Then he beat him he knocked him out in the fourth round of the next fight, and then lost to Benson Henderson, who was legit for a little bit there.
Back then,
Ben lost to Benson Henderson again, who again was legit back then, and then lost to Jose Aldo. Then went on a 5-fight win streak against Stu Bronx when he was down in weight. BJ Penn, Cub Swanson, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendez. And then fought for the title again, lost to Jose Aldo. Like even his losses, you could write out, he's going up against two of just monsters. I mean, I don't know what happened to Benson Henderson. He was next in line to be considered one of the greatest of all time. He kind of just fell apart.
When he got beat by Anthony Pettis, that was a problem.
It's true. It was just weird though, because he never responded from that. Anyway, we don't need to talk about Benson Henderson. We could have an hour-long conversation on him. I used to love him. We're moving on. We're moving on to the co-main. This fucking awesome co-main. We got the rematch. Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang. I'm fucking pumped for this fight. I can't wait for it. I want to get your thoughts on it because I have some opinions on this that they're going to shock some people. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna let you weigh in first. Go ahead. What do you think about this fight?
A lot of people are gonna hate me for saying this. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna fucking hate me. That was a flash KO. That was a lucky shot. That was a shot that landed, and it just landed at the right time. 9 times out of 10, I think Rose loses. I'm gonna tell you right now that I think that Zhang is going to win this second fight easily. And I think she was very lucky in that fight. And when her coach is like, "You're the best in the world. You're the best in the world," I was like, "Dude, that was a lucky shot, dude. That was very lucky that it happened like that." I don't think she even meant to knock her out. I don't think that was the thing. Remember we talked about planned knockouts? That wasn't. I think she got caught. I don't think Zhang is Rose.
I'm gonna shock people. I think Rose Zhang. Everyone's going with Zhang. Everyone thinks she's gonna win. I think Rose is gonna win. I'm sorry. I think Rose is gonna win. Her striking is so good. Her footwork is absolutely incredible. I'm not gonna call. Did Zhang get caught with a kick? Yeah, of course. But to say it was just a lucky shot, I mean, we're talking about one of the most elite strikers in all of UFC. Fuck men and women. Rose Namajunas is a fucking beast of a striker. She puts together combinations that you see boxers put together. Seriously, she does. She'll sidestep and hit you with 3 jabs and then a straight. Like she is an elite level kickboxer. And one of her only. Now, I'm not saying I love her outside the octagon. She has said some things of late that have been kind of shocking coming from her. You didn't expect it.
That whole red shit she said before that fight was uncalled for. I don't even know why she said
Right, that's what I'm referring to. It was really shocking having her said that, and she kind of doubled down on it too, which was even weirder. It was like, Rose, I wouldn't expect you to be racist. But again, I'm not saying I like her outside the octagon, but inside the octagon, she's a must watch.
It's a must watch. I think Jane's gonna get her.
She is an absolute monster of a striker, and the only thing that's gotten in her way is her own head. She gets in her head. She has always been able to get in her head, but when she is fighting confidently, she is one of the most terrifying fighters in all of UFC. When she is confident in throwing those combinations together, like she can, there's very little people that could stop her. I think she has that confidence going into this fight. Now, if Zhang comes out and starts landing, that confidence can disappear quickly with someone like Rose. But I think I got Rose winning this fight. I got her winning in a second round knockout.
Yeah, we're on the total different world on that right now.
That's who I got, man. All right, we're moving on to the only fight.
Just add some on the tail end. I do love Rose for knocking out Joanne. That was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. That was great. I loved it.
All right, so this is the main event. This is the main event we've all been looking forward to since the first fight. This is surprisingly not as much shit talk as I thought there would be. Unless you watch, you're a freak like me and you watch all the UFC preview stuff. There's not been a lot of like public shit talk from. There has been from Colby, but Kamaru Usman has been very quiet, which I think is a very bad sign for Colby Covington. I think people are saying, fucking Chael Sonnen said that Colby Covington is an elite level wrestler. He's so much better than Usman in wrestling. He is an elite level wrestler. He's not better than Usman. I'm sorry. He's not better than Usman in wrestling. He's not better in the clinch game. He's not better at striking. He's not better anywhere in the fight game. I will say this over and over and over again. Colby Covington is a great fighter. Great fighter. I would never take that away from him. But he is the lesser version of Usman. Usman does everything better, does everything Colby does, but better than Colby. I think Colby wins this fight. I think he's out to prove a point. I don't think he lets this thing go to the fourth round. I think he wins this maybe by stoppage, maybe by knockout in the third. I think he's out to prove a point that Colby Covington should not be mentioned in the same name ever. Doesn't matter who's talking about him. Colby Covington needs to shut up and go away. He's not in the same breath as me. I am going for the greatest welterweight of all time. I'm coming for your throne, GSP. And I think he will prove that point. I think that's why he's been rather quiet. I think he is training, and he is training hard. No one has a work ethic like Kamaru Usman. What do you think, Dustin?
Here's a problem when I see. So when I'm trying to judge fights, I always kind of envision how a fighter can win. And when I look at Covington versus Usman, I can't imagine somewhere that Colby's going to win because I don't think he's more powerful. So here's the fighters that I think gave Usman a little bit of shit. Gilbert Burns has I'm going to knock your head off your neck power. And he caught Usman with a very, very hard shot, made him have deer leg.
And he fucking recovered.
And I think Gilbert Burns let him recover a little bit. I think the moment was a little bit too big for him. I think he probably should have finished. But
still, he recovered.
He recovered. I'll give him credit. And Colby Covington doesn't have that type of power. He can't hit that hard. I don't think he's gonna hit that hard. Then when it comes to wrestling, I'm gonna revolt back to early in the show. Usman's a big dude. Colby would have to use a lot of technicality to get Usman to the ground, which I think he has. Don't get me wrong. He's a high-level wrestler. But here's the problem. So is Usman. So it's kind of weird. I don't see any way. I just don't see a path to victory for Colby unless he lands a flash all-time shot. Or he has to land something lucky. He has to catch him in an exchange. He has to catch him. I don't see where he beats Usman. I know this is a very entertaining fight. I know it's very high profile because of the history. But in my opinion, when I'm watching this fight Saturday, I'm not going to be confident in Colby Covington winning this fight. I think it's going to be tough. I think that Colby Covington's going to hang in. I just don't see anywhere he beats Usman unless Usman just shits the bed and Colby puts his ass out. That's about all I can think of. And he couldn't even finish Tyron Woodley. I mean, he couldn't finish him. He dominated him, don't get me wrong, but he couldn't finish him.
Well, let's be honest, too. Woodley got hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, Colby was going to win that fight, but Woodley got hurt. That's why it ended.
And then it comes to a point where I just don't see. I'm telling you, dude, I don't see a path to victory. There is none. I can't even game plan for it because I don't see it. There's nowhere that I think he's better. There's nowhere I think that he's going to come through. Like I said, I think the only way he wins this fight is if Usman shits the bed and just gets taken advantage of. But I don't think that's going to happen. He's proved that's not going to happen to me. So therefore, I mean, no. I think Usman's going to take this fight almost convincingly. I don't know.
I just want to go back real quick before we end the show. I want to go back to the first fight. I really do. Because the first fight has been, yes, my dog is bothering me. Hold on. All right. The first fight, yes, was a close fight. Round by round was a close fight. Scoring-wise was a close fight. It was. It really was. I'm not trying to say it wasn't. Usman, it wasn't as close as people are making it out to be. People are making it out to be to say that if that fight didn't finish by a stoppage, that Colby could have won on points. No.
No.
Usman lost one round.
I agree.
You lost one round. Colby hardly connect. He didn't clean. He didn't land any clean shots. Usman has this way of making you think you're landing against him, but he lowers that. His striking defense is a boxer's. He lowers that chin and gets out of the way and makes you graze him. He does, and you'll feel like because you are technically hitting him, he'll make it feel like, oh my god, I'm doing so well against this guy, but you're not. He's not even feeling it. The only guy that's really ever landed clean against him is Gilbert Burns. Um, Colby landed a couple of clean shots. I'm not saying he never landed. He did. There were some shots where that I can't remember which round it was, but there was one round where Colby did land like 3 clean shots to Usman and didn't affect him because Colby, like you said, has no power. He's got pillow hands. But Colby really wasn't landing that much, and Usman, every time Colby threw one strike, Usman was landing 3. It was really like a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio of striking. He was countering him. He looked like a really good, like, his striking is shocking how good it's gotten. I agree with you. There's just no path to victory for Colby other than getting lucky. There really isn't. And Usman is really smart. He's one of the smartest fighters in the UFC. I don't think I'll ever put him above GSP, but he is right there, man. He is right fucking there.
He's there, but I think the level of competition when GSP
right, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. The level of competition is not the. I mean, GSP beat some of the same fighters that Usman has beaten, but GSP beat them in their prime. That's the difference.
Matt Hughes. Everybody says Matt Hughes is, bruh.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. So he might never ever eclipse GSP, and he's actually kind of mentioned that he doesn't think he ever will. That's why I love Usman. He knows the history of the fucking sport. It's his goal to, but he doesn't know if he ever will because GSP was so fucking great. I just want to wrap this up by saying I can't fucking wait for this fight. We got a lot of good fights coming up too. So we kind of agree on most of this card. I got Usman winning. You got Usman winning. Just remember, next November 13th, even though it's a Vegas card, it is a Max Holloway Vegas card. So make sure you guys tune into that. We will be covering that fight. Kevin Holland versus Kyle Daukaus has also been rescheduled for that card. I'm excited for that. This is going to be a good card. We got Felicia Spencer, Philip Lins versus OSP. Well, I always tune into OSP fighting. So with that, guys, we will go ahead and sign off. We ran a little bit over. That's because there was just a lot to talk about with this card. Please tune in, get your bets in, get everything in. This is going to be a lot of fucking fun. Everybody better, I don't care if you're rooting for fucking Colby. Everybody better be rooting for Usman because he fucking is a monster. Fuck Colby Covington. That's all I got to say. I'm going to sign off for us. Thank you guys. Happy fight week.